Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. On Teachers' Day, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Tuesday, we will not only celebrate the teachers, but we will also set it up for the G20 coverage here on CNN News 18. Do watch out for the G20 Town Hall 6 p.m. onwards. But let us also get you some good news on the G20 front, starting up here on The Right Stand. Xi Jinping, the president of the China and also CCP, will not be attending G20, but Premier Li Qiang will attend, and that's a confirmation that we have. Vikram, the lander Vikram on the moon surface, has done yet another soft landing. Now, what we're given to understand is that it did a hop. It went up about 40 centimeters plus and then hovered a bit and then landed back again on the moon surface. The distance is 30 to 40 centimeters away. So that means it shifted position. ISRO says that it exceeded mission objectives by doing this or taking this call. And we're given to understand that lander Vikram made this call on its own, given whatever activity was happening on the lunar surface. And of course, heartiest congratulations to Sanjana Ganesan and Jasprit Bumrah. Bumrah's taken some time off from the Asia Cup. But then it's all worth it, isn't it? They've got a baby there and welcome to parenthood. That's what we can tell the Bumrah family or the Sanjana family. Well done. So they welcome a baby boy, Angad. He's tweeted and he's also said our little family has grown and our hearts are fuller than we could ever imagine. Let's hope this little boy only brings so many more wickets for Bumrah on the cricketing field. With that, we set it up, ladies and gentlemen, and the conversation this evening, first up, is around Sanatan Dharma.
சிலவற்றை நாம் ஒழிக்கத்தான் வேண்டும், எதிர்க்க முடியாது. கொசு, டெங்கு காய்ச்சல், மலேரியா, கொரோனா இதையெல்லாம் நம்ம எதிர்க்கக்கூடாது, ஒழித்து கட்ட வேண்டும். அப்படிதான் இந்த சனாதனம்.
सनातन धर्म का के ऊपर भी चोट पहुंचाई जा रही है. इन्हीं के गठबंधन के लोग DMK ने चोट पहुंचाई है और इस पर कांग्रेस चुप्पी साफ कर बैठी हुई है.
भारत की सभ्यता को, भारत की मूल आस्था को, सनातन धर्म को यानी हिंदू धर्म को अपमानित करने में जिसे मानो एक कंपटीशन शुरू हो गया है.
I do not find anything wrong in what he said. One has to fight Sanatan. We are fighting Sanatan.
सनातन धर्म एक स्थापित जीवन शैली, धार्मिक भाव है और उसका संपूर्ण सम्मान होना चाहिए.
I will definitely stand against it and I will face any illegal activities, action, and I will never step back from whatever I say.
Udhyanidhi Stalin has stoked a huge row, ladies and gentlemen, but we need to understand history and the perspective as to why the DMK over decades has done this. Many call it Periyarism, those who were followers of Periyar or Periyarists, but more importantly, it is what E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar and his ilk propagated on the guise of rationalism. They would have nothing to say about the Abrahamic faiths, be it Islam or Christianity, but they would go about with this Hindu bashing, and that has now evolved. It all started with Brahminism, despite in Tamil Nadu at that time also, even today, less than 4% of the population is Brahmin. But what they called Brahminism then became Hindu bashing, Hindutva bashing, Hindu faith, and now it's now become Sanatan Dharma. The understanding of Sanatan Dharma itself is lopsided and it's politically motivated. Researchers after researchers, commentators after commentators have said that all that was done was to eke out political gain and to perhaps sow the seeds of what E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar and Kalaignar at that time as his follower wanted to set up as a political movement to uproot the Congress party. And this was a time when, and there is a lot of history about that, we'll talk about it. But let's first understand what is Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan is eternal, that which is perennial, forever there. Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana, says Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. And after Arjun turns around and tells Krishna that you are the preserver, you are the maintainer, and you are the one who ensures that the eternal religion or the eternal dharma, that which is Sanatan, that which is there forever, unchanged, past, present, future, you are the one who preserves it, my Lord, and I submit unto you. And that's when he says, Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam braja. That's again Krishna telling Arjun, leave everything else, just focus your energies unto me. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshaishyami masucha. That means I will rid you of all your sins and take you towards moksha, or the higher consciousness. That means you as an individual can rise to come and connect. The Jivatma connects with the Paramatma, or the source of all living beings on this earth. That's why he says, Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. That's part of the Bhagavad Gita, our own scriptures. This is the definition of Sanatan Dharma. That which is eternal. And dharma is what? Dharma is occupation, that which is holds, that which sustains, that which preserves society, that which upholds or sustains, is a perennial occupation. It has to be practiced in continuity. It doesn't refer to any sectarian process or religion. Sanatan Dharma teaches that creation is cyclic. 6 pillars of Sanatan Dharma: truthfulness, compassion, austerity, cleanliness, charity, spiritual education. Are you saying that all of these are not important for a sane, humane, balanced society, and for humanity and human beings to live peacefully and to also grow and to raise their levels of consciousness? Truthfulness, compassion, austerity, cleanliness, charity, and of course spiritual education. 6 pillars. How they define Sanatan Dharma? Let's try and look at some of the voices. The top voices of our own history, and people who we celebrate, who we revere, whose books we study, whose teachings we try and follow. Swami Vivekananda. No religion on earth preaches the dignity of humanity in such a lofty strain as Hinduism, and Hinduism treads upon the necks of the poor. That is what it says. He took pride in calling himself, Mahatma Gandhi took pride in calling himself a Sanatani Hindu. Sanatan Dharma is the property of all humankind. This is what he had said. And Sanatana Dharma is life itself. Sri Aurobindo himself has turned around and said. So, thus interpreted. So, Hindu Dharma is not circumscribed like a proverbial frog in the well. It is as broad as the ocean. Thus interpreted, it is the property of humankind, no matter by what name it is called. While other religions, Sri Aurobindo is saying, while other religions are prepondering religions of faith and profession, Sanatan Dharma is life itself. Siddharth Yadav, spokesperson of the BJP, is joining us this evening. Anand Ranganathan, author, and C. Rajashekharan, advocate and political analyst. Namaste, Jai Hind. Thank you for your time this evening, gentlemen. Let me first ask Anand Ranganathan. Sanatan Dharma is like dengue and malaria. You're a scientist, sir. I don't know how spiritual you are, but you would have read. And please explain then.
Good evening, Anand, and good evening to my fellow panelists. It is not enough that we merely oppose Judaism. We should eradicate Judaism like we eradicate malaria and dengue and corona. Now, I ask all those psychos who are supporting Stalin Jr., is my statement above not anti-Semitic? In fact, you'd be arrested in 16 nations for saying this. But replace Judaism with Sanatan Dharma, and you not only escape arrest, you celebrate the bigotry unabashedly. Number one, Udhyanidhi Stalin has uttered a shockingly anti-Hindu, anti-Hinduism statement, and his subsequent clarification is also utterly devoid of truth. Look, Anand, I do not believe in caste. No scientist can or should. In fact, I have said this before. I am a proud Ethiopian and a descendant of Lucy. And as for Varna, I am ambivalent towards it in a strictly technical sense, as long as there is free movement across the 4 Varnas, which there was in Sanatan Dharma to begin with. Unfortunately, with time, as Ambedkar also pointed out, Varna and caste became intertwined, and even though this was approved by Mahatma Gandhi, the so-called hereditary Varna, it is unacceptable to me. Number 2, If a BJP minister had said what Stalin has about another religion, there'd be a civil war by now. But Hindus are easy to abuse. They don't behead transgressors. You see, that's the reason. But when it comes to Islam, remember how ex-Prime Minister Manmohan Singh on the floor of our parliament demanded an apology from Denmark for the Prophet cartoons. Besides, such statements are entirely in keeping, Anand, with the DMK founder's stand. Let me explain just a couple of minutes. E.V. Ramasamy or Periyar thrived on acrimony, spitefulness and rancor. He never gathered the courage like Dr. Ambedkar did to criticize the regressive, misogynistic, exclusionist and bigoted practices of religions other than Hinduism. In fact, unlike the ruthlessly objective Dr. Ambedkar, Periyar praised Abrahamic religions, wanted Hindus to convert to Islam. He was an antithesis of Ambedkar, who he, by the way, disliked and claimed to be on the payrolls of Brahmins. Anyhow, I abhor Periyar's means, but to me, he was proof of the extent to which Hindus accept diversity of opinion. The price of apostasy, Anand, in Hinduism is veneration. What is the price, I ask you, of apostasy in Islam? Yes, death. 3. Let me quote Periyar verbatim and everything would be clear. Quote, as a first step, we will burn the constitution. Then we will burn Gandhi's photo. Then we will uproot all Gandhi's statues. Brahmin is a snake entangled in our feet. If you see a snake and a Brahmin on the road, kill the Brahmin first, unquote. And as a response to such utterances, here is a quote by none other than Jawaharlal Nehru, quote, old and senile men like Periyar deserve a place more in a lunatic asylum than in public life. It is high time Periyar and his followers were banished from this land, unquote. I now quote from Reverend Robertson's authoritative book, Periyar's Critique of Hinduism, quote, in 1971, Periyar organized a conference in Salem. Rama's image was taken in the procession and was beaten by sandals. Hindu deities were obscenely portrayed. The effigy of Rama was burned. Posters revealing the lust and birth of Hindu deities were everywhere, unquote. This event also finds a mention in a chapter by Puduval in Transcultural Negotiations and in Rayson's India Reflection. Finally, just 30 seconds. Let me mention a quote verbatim now, finally, quote. Right. Whatever Periyar says can only be said by a criminal or a lunatic. Do not delay in dealing with this matter. Let him be put in a lunatic asylum and his perverted mind treated there, unquote. Do you know who said this, Anand? Jawaharlal Nehru to K. Kamaraj on November 5, 1957. So whatever Stalin Jr. has said is entirely in keeping with his ideology. A jackfruit never falls far from its tree.
But why are they saying it right now is the bigger question. And since you quoted our scriptures and you talked about Varna, Jati and caste, caste emerges from a Portuguese name called Casta. So it is dark, it has got no Indian etymology at all or lineage in terms of our lingua franca. It was a term that was brought in by foreigners to define something they did not understand. If you look at Varna or if you look at how it is defined, even Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says it as when he says, Chatur Varna Maya Shrishta Guna Karma Vibhagasaha. That means the 4 Varnas are my creation, but it is decided on the basis of ability and action. Never is it mentioned birth, and that's why Ratnakar became Valmiki, the sage. And that is why a Vishwamitra turns around and becomes the Kaushika king becomes Rishi Vishwamitra. So these are all examples in our own scriptures, and this is the reality. If Kichaka was a Shuta, so was Adhirath. So so was Shukadev Goswami, who propagated Vyasa's Mahabharata after he learnt it from Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa and Vaisampayana. So these are all parts of our culture, our history, which we must always remember, that people rise when they follow intellectual pursuits. Siddharth Yadav, Brahma Jane iti Brahmana is what our scriptures say, that those who understand the meaning and have the knowledge of the unity of the universe and humanity or the human being, those are Brahmanas. Never is it said that it is something which is by birth. So who are these Brahmanical forces that the DMK wants to cull? Who have propagated caste amidst society? There is caste only in Sanatan Dharma, sir. Is that true?
Anand, thank you so much for having me today on your show. One thing is very clear, Professor Anand very rightly put where this ideology is coming from. But this bashing of the Hindu Dharma or the Sanatan Dharma is nothing new. Sanatan Dharma, which calls for Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Badrani Pashyantu, Ma Kashid Dukh Bhag Bhavet, which wishes for the progress of the entire world, which dreams of a Vasudeva Kutumbakam, which dreams for a Shanti in the entire world, is now being bashed by political parties from a long time. And this is, I think, the lineage of a very particular Macaulay Marxist ideology, a thought process, which has dwelled down into political parties who, for their political gains, have unapologetically always chosen this path. This is nothing new. This is not in isolation. We have seen this from the opposition, from certain political parties, from a long time. How can we forget the education minister from Bihar? How can we forget Swami Prasad Maurya? How can we forget Gopal Italia from the Aam Aadmi Party, who came out and said कि मंदिरों में नहीं जाना चाहिए, you should not go to the temples. It hurts the feelings. And when it comes down to DMK, it is nothing new. In DMK, in Peramburu district in Tamil Nadu, where the Muslim population went up to 70%, it was decided that you cannot do puja in temples because it hurts the feelings. And the government upholded this decision. It was only until the court came up and said and overruled and said you can't do it because it's unconstitutional. But today, when not just a son of a chief minister, but a minister himself who took oath on the constitution comes out and participates in hate speech, rather propagates hate speech, participates in an event which is called eradicating Sanatan Dharma, and unapologetically comes out and says it is like a disease, and later on also clarifies, I stand by what I said and this is exactly what I said, I will eradicate it and I'm ready for anything. This is the reality of Indian politics. But it is the result of
it's not the reality of Indian politics, sir. It is the reality that you can say this only about Sanatan Dharma and still get away with it, sir. There is no Sartan se juda call, and there is no coming out on the streets and trying to create a huge furor that under Modi this country has become absolutely fanatic and rational and fascist. All of that is not being said. Had it been of any of the Abrahamic faith, C. Rajashekaran, what would have been your reaction, sir?
Anand, first you should understand what the sports minister had spoke on the other day when he said that he is going to eradicate malaria, dengue and other viral diseases, and he equated with Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma is not going to attack or going to kill Hinduism. Hinduism has nothing to do with Sanatan Dharma.
You are saying
that. That is what he tried to interpret. You are
saying that.
Please.
Your grandfather, by your own admission, was a Dikshitar at the temple, sir, and you are telling me that Sanatan Dharma and Hinduism have nothing to do with each other.
Amazing.
Say, I'll tell you, please allow me. I'm only saying what Mr. Udhayanidhi Stalin had said, and he had reiterated again. He stands by what he had spoke. See, I am not holding any brief for him.
Our Sonna sir, what is the truth? You tell me that.
I go by what the Congress K.C. Venugopal had said. Sarva Dharma Savabhava. We need equality in every religion.
But Sanatan Dharma is what you are saying. You need equality in every religion, Sri Rajashekaran. After that, Udhayanidhi Stalin said, we believe only in one faith, and one God. See, which faith and which God is he talking about, sir? Sanatan Dharma. Sir, Sanatan Dharma says there is only one God. Sanatan Dharma says there is only one God.
That's what, say. He said, Vandre Kulam Oruvane Devan. He has got the right. Freedom of speech and expression is available for everybody.
So is that freedom of... No, why was that freedom of speech not available for Nupur Sharma of the BJP? Why was that freedom of speech not available?
See, I'll tell you. See, he never said...
Why was that freedom of speech not allowed? Not allowed? Is that allowed equally to everybody, sir?
Sanatan,
why did
he never said he is going to commit genocide on Sanatanis.
You are a lawyer yourself, sir. You are a lawyer yourself. You are a lawyer yourself, sir. You are a lawyer, sir. You are a lawyer yourself, sir. Let me ask you, sir. has what he said, had he said that about any other faith in our country, what would have happened? Would you yourself have spared, sir?
See, I'll tell you.
Given that you practice another faith today, which is different from your grandfather by your own admission.
See, I'll tell you. No, I'll tell you. First, Anand, let me be clear. See, you should understand what Udhayanidhi Stalin had. He did not speak against the whole Hindus of this country or the 80% population of Tamil Nadu. Because the DMK has members of Hindus,
sir,
not others. Sir, as their majority sir, leaders and members
with
DMK.
Due respect, sir.
So going by
due respect, sir, you know how you are sounding today, as if you are fighting a case in court which you know you have no chance of winning, but you got to do your dharma because that's your duty or occupation. That you fight that
you are trying to overpower me and heckle me.
With very due respect,
please
sir.
allow
with a lot
me.
of respect, I am telling you. Anand Ranganathan wanted to say something. I'll come back to you, Mr. Rajshekhar.
Yes, just a couple of points.
No, please allow me. No,
I'll come back to you, sir. I promise.
How will I present my case?
I'll come back to you, sir.
If you don't allow me to speak, how will I present my case?
I am just allowing him an intervention and I'll come back to you. I am not overruling your argument at all. Please. Yes, Anand.
With due respect, and I have great respect for Mr. Rajshekhar. I mean, he's fighting a lost cause with clients, quote unquote clients like Stalin Jr. I mean, there's only one-way street. But, you know, this can actually cause real harm to Mr. Rajshekharan's reputation because there are many prospective clients watching this. And if he's representing them, they might go to the judge and say, my lord, we've seen him on television. We want to represent our case ourselves. We don't want him as a client. But be that as it may. Anand, I want to make two very quick points here. In the last 1 hour, Stalin Jr. has actually made a statement to ANI. Let me quote it verbatim. Verbatim, this is what Mr. Udhayanidhi Stalin is saying. Quote, day before yesterday, I spoke at a function about Sanatan Dharma. Whatever I said, I'll repeat the same thing again and again. I included all religions and not just Hinduism, unquote. Which other religions did he include? I missed that part, certainly. Did he say that Christianity and Islam also must be eradicated like malaria and dengue? No, he didn't. What a hypocrite. Now he's backtracking. And number two, Anand, I've said this before. He comes from a proud lineage of DMK who've then said this time and again for decades. So it doesn't really matter to me. What is worrying for me was that the Minister of Hindu Charitable Endowments Act, the Ministry of Tamil Nadu, was at this conference for eradicating Sanatan Dharma. These guys are leeching billions of Sanatan Dharma in Hindu temples. And the minister is there saying that Sanatan Dharma should be eradicated. What can be more ironical than that? That fellow should have resigned yesterday itself. Shocking.
This is quod erat demonstrandum of 8th class citizens of Hindus in a Hindu Rashtra, sir. That's what
I think I'm afraid we become 9th class citizens now, Anand.
You will have to add another addendum to your book. That's what will happen. Yes, Mr. Rajshekharan, please complete your argument. We'll try not to intervene.
Anand, I could see both, I could see both Anands enjoying and relishing whatever is happening around us. But
no, sir, we are not enjoying or relishing.
I would again say
it is our again.
It
is our again roots in Sanatan Dharma which tolerate, which ask us to practice tolerance and to argue out rather than go and call for sartan se juda. That's what's happening, sir. Go ahead, please.
See, I'll tell you. I think Udhayanidhi Stalin's statement is being blown out of proportion and is being misunderstood by many because he never said he is going to commit genocide on Hindus. Point number one. that is the twist which was given by BJP IT cell, and everybody is carrying the news. The mainstream.
Did I ever say anything like that?
Did we say that?
Did we say that in the last 25 minutes, sir? Have we said it in the last 25 minutes?
No, he never said.
Have we said it on our show, sir? Have we said it on this debate? Have we said it? Have we said it on CNN News 18? We haven't.
No, you may be an exceptional.
No, sir, our channel is the exception. We have not said it.
Come on, let us be fair. No, let us be fair. Anand, again I am telling you, whatever he had said, he stands by it, and we should appreciate that.
You should appreciate it
because he never said
you will appreciate it. No, then Mr. Rajshekharan, then Mr. Rajshekharan tonight on the show, please say, just like you stand with Udhayanidhi Stalin, you also stand with Nupur Sharma of the BJP. Let me hear you say it. Since you have taken a position that everybody has the freedom of speech to make an argument, I want you to say as a lawyer and as a citizen of this country, that if you stand with Udhayanidhi Stalin, you stand with Nupur Sharma of the BJP?
So I'll tell you, you have the freedom just up to the nose, not into the nose.
Correct.
See what
So,
Udhayanidhi Stalin has said
sir, if
cannot
Ms.
be
Nupur
equal to-
Sharma was into the nose, Mr.
No, I'll tell
Udhayanidhi
you.
Stalin is not.
No, see, you can interpret it whichever way you want.
Mr.
Let me
Rajesh
finish.
Shekhan,
That's why I'm
Please
asking
allow
you,
me,
sir.
Please allow me, no.
That's
Let
why
me
I'm
finish.
asking you, sir.
Please. No,
Mr.
see,
Rajesh Shekhan, please give me a
so
minute.
whatever
I just quoted Mr. Stalin.
whatever
I quoted Mr.
whatever
Stalin.
Nupur Sharma spoke.
Sir, please just give me 30 seconds if you
do
don't mind.
like
I
this,
really
how
have
can
deep
I,
respect for you.
how can I
Please.
speak if you heckle me again and again?
No,
how can I speak?
nobody is heckling you, sir.
not
I
fair.
asked you a simple question and you do not want to answer it because you know you
No, I'll
walked
tell
right
you,
into
please,
a...
if you allow me only
you
before I
walked
could finish,
right into it, sir. You walked right into it. I am asking you a straightforward question. Did you accord the same freedom? Did you accord the same appreciation? Did you accord the same respect to Ms. Nupur Sharma of the BJP when she made that comment on a TV debate as a reaction to a comment by another panelist? What you are saying to Mr. Udhayanidhi Stalin, who in the last 24 hours, 48 hours has repeated the same thing again and again and again, which is disrespectful to the Sanatan Dharma.
I'll tell you. See, I'll tell you, in Sanatan Dharma, there is no equality among castes. There is, see, Kshatriya, Vaishya,
There is no caste in
Shudra
Sanatan.
and
Sir,
Brahmin
there is
on the top.
no caste. There is
I'll
no
tell you.
Sir,
See, that's what.
Sir,
That's what he was trying
do
to
you
imply.
know the
That's what he was
difference,
trying
sir?
to imply.
That is exactly
I'm
what
not
I'm trying
saying
to
this.
say. Can I come and argue with you without studying law, sir? He has made an argument without even understanding the
please.
law. He is without even understanding the rule of what a Varna is, how a
Sanatan
Varna
Dharma-
is defined.
See,
I
if
just
you
told
go by
you,
that-
Krishna
No,
himself in the
please,
Bhagavad
please,
Gita
I'm going to
defines
speak
the
for you
Varna on the
now.
basis of
Please allow
ability and
me.
action. He does not define it on the basis of birth.
No, please
He the
allow me
base
now.
ability
Please,
and
no,
action.
I got your point.
Is your
I got
ability
your
and
point.
action the same as
I
my
got
ability
your
and
point.
action,
Please
sir?
allow me.
As a lawyer and as
Please
an
allow me,
anchor, is
please.
it the same, sir?
Please allow me.
That's a simple rule and logic. How is this defeated? How did this escape Mr. Udhayanidhi Stalin is a fair question to ask. Siddharth and then
No,
Anand
I'll tell you.
Ranganathan. Siddharth.
Please allow me.
No, sir.
There
No,
is-
sir.
Please, now-
No, sir.
There is
Siddharth.
caste
I'll
discrimination.
just respond to Mr. Rajshekharan. Please hear me out once. I think it is very Mr. Rajshekharan, please hear me out now. If Mr. Rajshekharan comes out and says today that it is being blown out of proportion, I would have believed him if Mr. Udhayanidhi Stalin would have gone to a fancy dress competition and then said this. The title of the event was Eradicating Sanatan Dharma. There is no misunderstanding. He is clear, he is point on. And the politics behind it is also very clear. I feel very sad that people like Mr. Rajshekharan and politicians like K.C. Venugopala, the smaller Khadke, all these politicians, they have come out and now they are unapologetic and they'll support Mr. Udhayanidhi Stalin. They do not fear this. It is because the statement is on Hindus. It is because they think, they misconstrue that if we say
Sir,
Ahimsa Paramo Dharma, then Hindus can't do anything.
No,
We say
it's
about-
not that, sir. It's the fact that the roots are on Sanatan Dharma, that tolerance has to be tolerance is mandatory, sir. You know, argument is
absolutely.
optional. Tolerance is mandatory, and ahimsa
And
is
Anand,
one
I
of the
just like to-
26 virtues that have been
may I
defined by
comment now?
Krishna
May I
himself in
comment?
the Bhagavad Gita, sir.
Anand,
That's
I-
a reality, and this
Anand,
Sanatan
may I
Dharma, sir,
comment?
is the reason why Mr. Udhayanidhi Stalin can walk around saying this, sir. May he attempt the same about saying only one God and one faith in another country. As Mr. Anand Ranganathan pointed out, you would see the fate that befalls him. Sir, to the gentleman,
I'll just complete. I'll just take 10 seconds.
I have run out of time. I'm more than about 2 minutes over on the debate already. We got an interview coming through with Mr. Anurag Thakur, a straightforward, honest conversation that we had, candid conversation on various issues. Do stay with us. That's coming up right after the break. Thank you to all our panelists.
I've heard Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova clearly saying that the G20 is being dominated by G7 plus grouping and their agenda, and they do not want G20 to become hostage of these issues, and they have said that they will push for global and more consensus agenda, and they will support India's G20 presidency as well. In fact, the Russian side has also said that they will rely on the BRICS member countries in case G7 try to push for their agenda. We have also seen Canadian President Justin Trudeau, recently expressing disappointment that Ukrainian President Zelensky is not being invited to G20 summit level talks. India had made it very clear, long time back, that G20 will remain an agenda that will be focused on developmental issues, global issues of finances, climate change, or SDG goals, or women empowerment, or social justice. Things that has been the core of G20 grouping, and it will not be given priorities to certain conflicts or the conflict that is happening in one part of the world. And so the security issues is something that G20 has ideally not been discussing, and India did not allow this to become a stage for Ukrainian issues to be discussed. While the after effects of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, like food security, energy security, that will of course remain be a part of major agenda that Indian presidency of G20 is going to discuss around. Prime Minister Modi will also be likely having a dinner hosted for President Biden. We know that recently Prime Minister was in Washington, where the Biden family had hosted a very special dinner as a state guest for Prime Minister Modi. And recently Prime Minister Modi was also in France to attend the Bastille Day as the chief guest of the Bastille Day celebration. And when President Macron will be in Delhi, there could be a possibility that Prime Minister Modi will have something special or some special arrangement for him over a lunch or something. Besides, there will be several bilateral meetings with world leaders. Prime Minister is going to Jakarta on 6th and 7th, where he'll be having a meeting with Indonesian President Joko Widodo. And when the President will be arriving back in Delhi to attend G20 summit level talks, there is scheduled to have a meeting between Prime Minister Modi and the Indonesian President, because Indonesia remains the part of Troika, that is Indonesia, India and Brazil, who will be hosting the G20 summit level talks next year. Lula da Silva will be coming for to represent Brazilian side, the president of Brazil. He just had this meeting on the sidelines of BRICS summit level talks in Johannesburg, also with Prime Minister Modi, and we'll have to see how those meetings will take shape when the frequency of the leaders talk will increase, and how India, Brazil, Indonesia and other part of the South, global South will become a more stronger voice in the context that they want to have some solid reforms at multilateral platforms around the world, especially in United Nations. So while G20 will remain focused on many agendas of development, issues of multilateral reforms, climate change, global security, food security is something that India is going to push for. Social justice, women empowerment is something also that Prime Minister Modi had talked in the past to be talked about at the G20 summit level talks. With all the leaders congregating in Delhi, the issues will be discussed, and one can only hope that there will emerge a consensus despite all the differences that the world leaders have had in the recent past, so that the overall progress, overall development of the world does not become hostage of one crisis happening in one part of the world. Delhi is all set to host the G20 summit level talks, when the world leaders will be arriving and discussing about the priorities, challenges, common concerns around the world, especially in the area of development and finances. President Biden of USA will be arriving most likely on 8th of September, and during those 3 days when the leadership from UK, Rishi Sunak will be coming, President Macron is also going to come on Friday most likely, and the leaders are also going to have a bilateral with Prime Minister Modi during the course of 3 days that the event will be taking place. Two presidents, Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping, is not going to attend the summit level talks. The Russian President has sent Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister, to represent him, while today the Chinese side have confirmed that Premier Li Qiang will be representing the Chinese delegation at the summit level talks. US President Joe Biden had 2 days ago expressed hope that there will be President Xi Jinping who will be in G20 summit level talks, and probably he was looking for an opportunity to engage with the Chinese side, but now he has expressed some disappointment after he has learned that President Xi Jinping may not be coming to Delhi, and he said that he's disappointed because in the last few months we have seen a regular or frequent engagement being pushed from the US side to have an engagement with China, so that the multiple issues in trade, commerce, finances, and defense be dealt with in a more pacified way, and both sides try to engage and understand each other. And we have seen several secretaries, Secretary Blinken, Janet Yellen. Recently, Secretary of Commerce also went to China. So there has been multiple engagements, and probably US was looking forward to have a small window of opportunity when President Biden could have had a small, bilateral with Xi Jinping or the Chinese president. It was not clear whether it was scheduled or not. But we know that with the absence of Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping, it looks like the bloc, the G20, is increasingly divided on the many issues around the world. We have heard Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova clearly saying,
Namaste and Jai Hind. He is the Minister for Youth and Sports. He is also the Minister for Information and Broadcasting. Avenues which are making the headlines, and ministries that are always doing something and on their toes because there is so much information that's doing the round. Anurag Thakur ji, namaste.
Namaste.
Always a pleasure speaking with you, Anurag ji.
Thank you.
So we will try and mix the languages between English and Hindi. My first question to you, sir, as Information and Broadcasting Minister, please educate me. Is Sanatan Dharma equal to dengue and malaria?
It's such a sad statement. I mean, he should apologize to the nation. What is Ghamandiya Gathbandhan doing? How do you see Ghamandiya Gathbandhan? Ghamand, Ahankar, ही इनकी पहचान. If you look at West Bengal, they pelted stones, fired bullets and bombs during the Ramnami procession. Again, look at Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. Ghamandiya Alliance leaders spoke against Mahasita and Ramayana, and now against the Sanatan Dharma. From OBCs, anti-OBCs to the anti-Hindus, Hindu विरोधी होना, सनातन विरोधी होना, OBC विरोधी होना, यही इनकी पहचान है. ये कोई मौका नहीं छोड़ते जब रामनवमी के जुलूस पे पथराव करें, गोलीबारी चलाएं, हिंदुओं को अपमानित करें, षड्यंत्र रचें और यहाँ तक कि माँ सीता और रामायण पर भी अपशब्द कहें. जब कुछ और नहीं बचा था तो घमंडिया गठबंधन के नेताओं ने डेंगू मलेरिया के साथ सनातन धर्म की तुलना कर दी, कुचलने की बात कर दी, खत्म करने की बात कर दी. अरे जो आपके पूर्वज नहीं कर पाए, जो सोच को लेकर आए थे कि खत्म करेंगे, वो नहीं कर पाए तो आप क्या चीज हो. देश आपको करारा जवाब देगा. और एक नेता घमंडिया गठबंधन का ऐसा नहीं जिसने एक बार भी इन सब इंसिडेंट्स पे कभी उसकी आलोचना की हो. ये ध्रुवीकरण करना चाहते हैं. ये एक वर्ग का वोट पाने के लिए हिंदुओं को और अपमानित करना चाहते हैं. लेकिन दूसरी ओर सबका साथ सबका विकास, इसी मूल मंत्र के साथ नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार चली है, जिन्होंने सभी लोगों को 140 करोड़ भारतीयों को परिवारजन कहा है. अगर 4 करोड़ पक्के मकान बना कर दिए तो हिंदू सिख ईसाई सबको मिले. 4 करोड़ बहनें लखपति बनी. अगर 12 करोड़ से ज़्यादा रसोई गैस के सिलेंडर मुफ्त में दिए गए तो हिंदू सिख ईसाई सबको मिला. अगर 13 करोड़ घरों में नल से जल पहुंचा तो सबको मिला. हर गांव में बिजली पहुंची, सबको उसका लाभ मिला. अगर 18.5 करोड़ भारतीय गरीबी रेखा से बाहर आए और 80 करोड़ गरीबों को, जरूरतमंदों को 2.5 साल तक मुफ्त में अनाज मिला, 220 करोड़ वैक्सीन मुफ्त में लगी, तो सबका साथ सबका विकास मूल मंत्र वाले नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने किया. वो किसी के बारे में अपशब्द नहीं कहते हैं, वो सबको साथ में लेकर चलते हैं. और यहाँ घमंडिया गठबंधन है, कभी ओबीसी की आलोचना, कभी अपशब्द कहना, तो कभी अब भगवान राम से लेकर अब सनातनी धर्म तक केवल वोट बैंक की राजनीति के लिए इस स्तर तक गिरना, ये घमंडिया गठबंधन की सोच और इनके नेताओं की सोच दिखाता है.
But there is a question in your own answer, Anurag ji. See, because if you look at Tamil Nadu, from the times of E.V. Ramaswamy Nayakar, This Hindu bashing, idol bashing in the name of rationalism has happened since the 50s. It started then. They ensured national parties were wiped out, Kamaraj government was wiped out. It's the same narrative now. From Hindu bashing or idol bashing, it's now become Sanatan Dharma. They use this word Sanatan Dharma. But overall the attack is on Brahmins. Where are Brahmins in power in Tamil Nadu or anywhere else? Why using this Brahmin bashing, they say elitism. Then they say casteism is the root cause of all problems in our country and casteism is the bane of Sanatan Pratha. These are parts which Udhyanidhi Stalin ji on his Twitter reaffirmed his comment.
Does all the members of India Alliance agree with him?
So far nobody is objected.
That means they agree with him. Is that the same ideology? Is that the same vision of the Ghamandiya Alliance? See, the issue is they have to come clean on this. Just for your vote bank politics, you can't stoop so low to divide the society for your political gain. If you have nothing to showcase as far as your government achievement is concerned, you are unable to pick leader of your Ghamandiya Alliance, then you stoop so low to divide the society. So these kind of seats just for your political gains.
See, because Kamal Nath ji talks about Hindu Rashtra, Rahul Gandhi talks about Mohabbat ki Dukaan, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, there she's out there going to temples, visiting temples, praying. Rahul Gandhi was at a temple in Wayanad also. So on the one hand, the Congress is playing soft Hindutva, coveting Hindus. Their own allies in Tamil Nadu are standing there and saying Sanatan Dharma is bad, it's the root cause of all evil in our country.
ये नफरत की दुकान है जहाँ चीनी सामान है. ये देखिए, कभी चीन की भाषा बोलते हैं, कभी उनके पक्ष में बोलते हैं और देश के अंदर आए तो कहने के लिए तो मोहब्बत की बात करते हैं, लेकिन हर किसी की तरफ से नफरत नफरत और नफरत ही इनके निकलती है. और ऐसे अनेकों उदाहरण हैं. ये चुनाव आते हैं तो कोई जनेऊ पहन के निकल पड़ेगा, कोई मंदिर पहुंच जाएगा. ये राहुल गांधी जी ने अनेक बार करके देख लिया. वहाँ पे छत्तीसगढ़ के मुख्यमंत्री भगवान राम का
they are working the Chitrakoot, that entire circuit.
और यहाँ पर मध्य प्रदेश में हनुमान जी का. लेकिन कर्नाटक का चुनाव आता है तो आप बैन लगाने की बात करते हैं, आप ध्रुवीकरण का फायदा उठाते हैं और आपको लगता है कि हाँ ये पोलराइजेशन होगी और हम राजनीतिक लाभ उठाएंगे. इनकी सोच केवल सत्ता में आने तक है. और सत्ता में आने के बाद जैसे कांग्रेस शासित राज्यों में एक बार नहीं कई बार पेट्रोल और डीजल के दाम बढ़ा दिए. उस समय बढ़ाए जब केंद्र में मोदी सरकार ने दाम कम किए जनता को राहत देने के लिए. राजस्थान में सबसे महंगा पेट्रोल डीजल है. हिमाचल की सरकार को बने 6 महीने हुए 2 बार पेट्रोल डीजल के दाम बढ़ा दिए. क्यों? ये फेल हो गए गवर्नेंस के नाम पे. राजस्थान की कल की घटना देखिए, एक आदिवासी महिला को निर्वस्त्र करके गांव में घुमाया जाता है. हर दिन राजस्थान में 17 से 18 केसेस महिलाओं के प्रति अपराध, अत्याचार और बलात्कार के ऐसे आते हैं. क्या श्रीमान राहुल गांधी जी बांसवाड़ा तो गए रैली करने, भीलवाड़ा में जो युवती के साथ रेप हुआ, दलित युवती के साथ मार दिया गया, आप गए क्या? मुख्यमंत्री के घर से 5 किलोमीटर की दूरी पर राजस्थान में रेप हुआ महिला का, 10 साल के बच्चे के सामने मां मर गई. ऐसी अनेकों घटनाएं. मुख्यमंत्री के अपने जिला में 3 लोगों को जिंदा जला दिया गया. कहां है ये सरकारें? मणिपुर पहुंचते हैं कई हजार किलोमीटर दूर. हमने पहले दिन कहा कोई भी ऐसी घटना हुई वो देश और समाज को शर्मसार करती है, लेकिन राज्य की सरकारों को उचित कदम उठाने चाहिए. यहां गहलोत सरकार सोई हुई है, जहां कानून व्यवस्था चरमरा गई और भ्रष्टाचार का बोलबाला है. वहां पे राहुल गांधी जी नजर नहीं आते हैं. वहां ये घमंडिया गठबंधन के लोग हाथ पांव फूल जाते हैं. तो आनंद जी, सबसे बड़ा सवाल ये खड़ा होता है, राजनीति के चलते कितना गिरने वाले हैं. ये तो देश के बाहर जाके दूसरे देश की धरती पर भारत की छवि को गिराने का काम करते हैं. ये तो चीन में जाकर राजीव गांधी फाउंडेशन में पैसा उनसे लेते हैं. ये तो डोकलाम पे चीन अतिक्रमण करने का प्रयास करता है, तो उस समय भारत के प्रधानमंत्री तो बॉर्डर पे सेना का मनोबल बढ़ाने जाते हैं. लेकिन श्रीमान राहुल गांधी जी चीन के अधिकारियों के साथ गुपचुप बैठक करते हैं. एग्रीमेंट साइन होते हैं, पैसों का लेन देन होता है। ये राजीव गांधी फाउंडेशन में आया पैसा किसको गया, किस काम पे लगा, आज तक जवाब नहीं कांग्रेस दे पाई।
There is a lot which the opposition will try and do. Now they have come together, it's a committee of contradictions, as I quote some people. But let's focus on the positives now. They will want to say their thing and they will want to drag the narrative there. What's the narrative with the government? Before I come to the G20 aspect, I want to ask you what's going to happen soon after G20, this special session of Parliament, 18 to 22nd. What is going to happen? What's the thought behind this?
Let me first say about the narrative about the government. We always believed in the development model, and good governance and development is our achievement. सुशासन और विकास यही हमारी पहचान। और भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने 9 साल तक नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में इस एनडीए की सरकार ने शानदार काम किया। दुनिया की 10वीं सबसे बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था से दुनिया की 5वीं सबसे बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था बने। 18.5 करोड़ गरीबों को गरीबी रेखा से बाहर निकाला, 4 करोड़ बहनों को लखपति बनाया, पक्के घर देके। वो सारी मैं आपकी योजनाओं में जाने की बजाय हमने वो सब कदम उठाए जो गरीब कल्याण के थे। सबसे तेजी से बढ़ने वाली अर्थव्यवस्था भी बने। खेलों के क्षेत्र में हम
I'll come to sports in a bit. Sorry to interrupt you.
ये स्पेशल सेशन सरकार का अधिकार है।
नहीं, पर इसका थॉट प्रोसेस क्या है? कॉमन कोड है, कॉमन पोल है, विमेंस रिजर्वेशन बिल है. व्हाई सडनली जस्ट एग्जैक्टली अ वीक आफ्टर G20 summit is over this has been called? So it set the rumor mills abuzz. And मजे की बात यह है कि अब ये कहा जा रहा है कि आप जरा
इंतजार का फल मीठा। और पार्लियामेंट्री अफेयर मिनिस्टर बताएंगे इसका एजेंडा क्या है, क्यों विशेष सत्र बुलाया गया। हमारे देश के लिए अगले कुछ दिन बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है क्योंकि G20 की अध्यक्षता भारत को मिली, एक बहुत बड़ा पल है। और G20 ना कभी ऐसा पहले हुआ ना भविष्य में होगा, ना भूतो ना भविष्य तो मैं कह सकता हूँ, क्योंकि इसमें नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने खुद व्यक्तिगत रुचि लेके भारत की कला, संस्कृति, साहित्य, परंपरा, इनसे तो दुनिया को अवगत कराया ही। देश के हर राज्य, यूनियन टेरिटरी में 60 शहरों में 200 से ज़्यादा मीटिंग में कई हजार विदेशी प्रतिनिधि उसमें आकर भाग लिए। Y20 जो केवल एक एंगेजमेंट ग्रुप है, हमने उसमें 16,000 से ज़्यादा कार्यक्रम किए, 26 लाख से ज़्यादा युवाओं की सीधी भागीदारी हुई, करोड़ों युवाओं को तो जोड़ा। आप देखिए इसको जन जन तक पहुंचाने का, और G20 का बस ये बंद कमरे तक सीमित रख के जनता तक ले जाने का, ये केवल प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी कर पाए। और जो भारत की पहचान, महिला नेतृत्व, विकास, कोई भी क्षेत्र हो, राष्ट्रपति जी से लेकर अन्य हमारे वुमेन पायलट से लेके सेल्फ हेल्प ग्रुप से लेके आर्म्ड फोर्सेस से लेके बाकी सब, वो भी है। तो हमारी डिजिटल करेंसी, डिजिटल पेमेंट, जिसने भारत की एक नई ताकत दुनिया भर में टेक्नोलॉजी के क्षेत्र में दिखाई, ये नए भारत की नई पहचान है। और नए भारत में दुनिया उम्मीद देखती है, भारत के नेतृत्व में उम्मीद देखती है, यानी कि द वर्ल्ड सी होप इन इंडिया and in the India's leadership. And that is how Modi ji has emerged in the last 9 years as the world's most popular leader. But whether from G7 to G20 to BRICS to other conferences, he has contributed a lot, and the world look at him with a ray of hope.
No, because there are many who would also say that you've used G20 presidency to try and also use it for electoral gains, saying we brought G20 to India, we've become the president, so you give Prime Minister the vote, give him another chance. The other counter is that you're saying we are the 5th largest GDP. Yes, we are proud of it. But in terms of per capita, we are still one of the poorest countries in the world. So where is the growth story?
अच्छा वो आपने सवाल पूछा, क्योंकि G20 मैंने कहा अध्यक्षता करना केवल बंद कमरे में बैठक हुई चले गए, वो नहीं हुआ। ये भारत का इतिहास, भारत की सोच, भारत की परंपराएं और भारत की नई पहचान, इस सब से दुनिया को अवगत करवाया। इंडिया हैज़ बिकम द वॉइस ऑफ ग्लोबल साउथ, और एक ग्लोबल साउथ का नेतृत्व एक तरह से भारत कर रहा है, ग्लोबल साउथ की आवाज़ बन रहा है। और ग्लोबल साउथ के लिए एक पटल नहीं, अलग अलग पटल पर भारत ने बात रखी। इसलिए मैंने कहा चाहे G7, G20, ब्रिक्स, क्वाड, कहीं पर भी हो, ग्लोबल साउथ की आवाज भारत बना। एंड पोस्ट कोविड-19 पैंडेमिक, विद द जियोपॉलिटिकल इक्वेशन चेंजिंग, India's role has emerged. There is more people in favor of India. If you look at various global leaders saying Modi is the boss, Modi is true patriot, Modi is the most popular leader, from so on and so on. It never happened in the past. So we don't have to say it. People see it and they believe it. And the second issue is, do you think this will give you vote? If the Congress thinks so or the opposition thinks so, then good luck to them. We have delivered it, we have done it, and we have done it with a fashion and with a lot of passion. Why I am saying so is, हमने केवल करने के लिए नहीं किया जी, एक पहचान दिखाई है. योग तो भारत करता था, आज पूरी दुनिया करती है. स्पेस सेक्टर भारत बहुत पहले कर सकता था. अटल जी ने चंद्रयान 1 के लिए पैसा दे दिया था, शुरुआत तब हुई. कांग्रेस ने तो आके केवल उसको जवाहर नाम देने का ही काम किया था वहां पे. हमने तो शिव शक्ति दिया तो उनको बहुत मिर्ची लगी है. इनको जवाहर नाम से मिर्ची नहीं है जी, लेकिन शिव शक्ति के नाम से मिर्ची लगती है. लेकिन चंद्रयान 2 में कांग्रेस ने बजट में पैसा नहीं दिया बल्कि कम कर दिया. इन्होंने भारत के विकास को रोकने का काम किया. मोदी जी ने मंगलयान से लेके चंद्रयान तक हमारी जेवलिन की फील्ड से लेके चंद्रमा तक तिरंगे झंडे को वो पहचान दिलाई है. ऑपरेशन गंगा में यूक्रेन से निकाल कर लाए तो सीरिया, टर्की, अफगानिस्तान, नेपाल, यहाँ पे फर्स्ट रिस्पॉन्डर के रूप में भी भारत निकल कर आया है. ये भारत की नई छवि, नई पहचान है. इसको तो आप नहीं छीन पाओगे.
Let me ask you this, Shiv Shakti, because you mentioned it. I was about to come to sport with Pragnananda. I'll come to that. Next question is that. But on Shiv Shakti, when they say that even with Chandrayaan you've pushed a Hindutva agenda, do you sometimes within your team, is it irking that we are Hindustan and time and again governments, people, netas have to justify calling something which is integral to our civilization, our entity. And it's a scientific thought process. Shiva and Shakti, Sadhguru was explaining, are two spins. There is science with spiritualism. Does it irk you when these issues are raked up and said there is an agenda to it?
It shows their mindset. Well, they're limited to one family, one parivar. We give priority to India, India first. And there's nothing wrong naming it Shiv Shakti. We should be proud of it.
But is that pride there, or is there a little bit of a reluctance? Or do you feel the constant need to justify decisions?
Why should we justify? Why we need to? They have to explain why they are anti-Hindu, why they are anti-Sanatan. अगर वो रामनामी के जुलूस पर बम धमाके करते हैं, गोलीबारी करते हैं, रामायण को अपशब्द कहते हैं, माँ सीता को अपशब्द कहते हैं, और अब सनातन धर्म पर ही कुचलने का, मारने का, खत्म करने की बात करते हैं, तो जवाब तो देना होगा इस गठबंधन को जो घमंड से भरा हुआ है, अहंकार से भरा हुआ है. और एक घमंडिया गठबंधन को जवाब देना ही पड़ेगा, नहीं तो देश की जनता ने पहले भी जवाब दिया. हमने जो कहा वो करके दिखाया. 370-35 से हटाने की बात की, हमने किया, खत्म किया. आज कश्मीर में शांति है, चैन है, वहां पे विकास हो रहा है, पर्यटन बढ़ रहा है.
G20 भी हुआ,
G20 भी हुआ. दुनिया की बड़ी ताकतों ने रोकने का प्रयास किया, बहुत सफल हुआ. और सबसे बड़ी बात है आनंद जी, अब तो नेहरू गांधी परिवार के लोगों को छुट्टी मनाने के लिए भी जम्मू कश्मीर जाने का अवसर मिला है, क्योंकि शांति हो गई है, मोदी जी के कारण हो गई है. और वो लेह लद्दाख में बाइक भी चला सकते हैं, क्योंकि यूनियन टेरिटरी का दर्जा हमने दे दिया है. इन्होंने 70 साल तक केवल जख्म ही दिए थे 370-35 से देके. 40,000 लोगों की हत्याएं वहां पे हुई. इसलिए आप इन पे मत जाइए, इनको कोई नहीं सुन रहा जी उस दृष्टि से. और ये अपना नुकसान भी तब करते हैं और देश का भी, जब विदेशी धरती पे जाके देश को बदनाम करने का काम करते हैं.
पर जब ये लेह लद्दाख जाके कहते हैं कि वहाँ के लोकल लोगों ने कहा कि उनके जो ग्रेजिंग ग्राउंड्स है वहाँ आज चीनी बैठे हैं, पीएलए बैठा है, वो
शायद कहा होगा जब नेहरू जी के समय 39,000 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर भूमि चीन ने कब्जा कर लिया था, एक्साई चीन और बाकी एरिया पे. वो पंडित नेहरू जी की कांग्रेस की सरकार थी. आज नरेंद्र मोदी जी की एनडीए की सरकार है. कोई 1 इंच भूमि पर भी आंख उठाकर नहीं देख सकता. डोकलाम में हमारे सैनिकों ने मुंह तोड़ जवाब दिया. पूरी देश की सरकार, प्रधानमंत्री जी पीछे खड़े थे, देश की जनता पीछे खड़ी थी. लेकिन राहुल गांधी जी और कांग्रेस पार्टी उस समय भी चीन के अधिकारियों के साथ गुपचुप बैठकें कर रहे थे। ये देश जानता है।
We'll circle back to this in just a bit. अब थोड़ा हमारे common interest की बात करते हैं because we are both sports lovers. So as Pragyan rover was setting foot on the moon surface, you had Pragnananda roving around on the chessboard. How was it to meet him? Because you met him, you gave him a Himachali topi. I saw the pictures. So let me ask you from there.
I think India is so proud of him. At this young age, reaching the World Cup finals, playing against the best player in the world, Magnus Carlsen, which he has, beaten in the past when he was just 16. And Pragnanda was grandmaster in the international grandmaster at the age of 10 and 12. Look at his journey. He comes from such a humble background and reaching at this level. And nowhere in the world such kind of importance is given in a way because the Prime Minister himself met him and his family members. So the best part about Prime Minister is that he gives a lot of importance to sports. He is a sports lover and the sports promoter. He knows about the athletes' families, meet them so often. So Pragnanda, I think, is very, very balanced, very cool. I mean, in a way, a lot to learn from him. And I think chess brings that discipline to you, calmness to you. Whereas in your brain, you might be thinking about 10 different moves, but outside you stay so calm, composed, and so disciplined. I think the kind of background he comes from, his mother, his parents, the kind of hard work they put in, his coaches, my congratulations to the Federation and everyone. He has made India proud. But not only him. Anand, if you look at the recent few years, India has done extremely well. Look at the World Athletic Games. In 60 years, India won only 18 medals. This year alone, we won 26 medals and 10 gold medals. Look at wrestling, under 20 title. Antim Fangal has won it twice, under 20 title. Look at Priya and other Savita and other players; they have become the champion.
But they're flying without they're playing without.
But I'll come to that. Look at the 4 World Cup champions, world champions. Who? Nikita Bas, Lavlina, 2 others, Sweetie and
Nikat Zareen, Lavlina.
Nikat Zareen and all. So look at that. So, if these are the names, which you will see that these are the women champions. Now look at badminton, Satvik, Sairaj and Chirag. These then, if we look at other games, hockey, Asian men's and women juniors we have won, and the men's seniors also we have won. We have become the Asian champion. Football, SAF games we have won. Athletics.
Blind world cricket 4 into 400
relay.
Asian record tod diya heat
Asian records, national record, and in the heat we were number 2. This speaks a lot. Then
golden
talk
boy
about golden boy of Indian athletics.
Neeraj Chopra.
Yes, you are right. But not only Neeraj Chopra. Look at Kishore Jaina at number 5, Manu DP at number 6. So among the 6 top positions in javelin, we have 3. And Neeraj Chopra, as you rightly mentioned, the golden boy of Indian athletics. He has done us proud. Under 20 title, Asian champion, Asian Games gold medal, Commonwealth Games gold medal, Diamond League title, Olympics medal. One after another he has done it for India and stay very level-headed, very cool, focused on his training and all that. And I am very hopeful that in the upcoming Asian Games, India is going to do well. We are very hopeful. We have put in all the efforts that we should give our best so far in the Asian Games.
Paris 24 पे निगाहें हैं कि 2036 अहमदाबाद पे निगाहें?
No, हमारी दोनों पे निगाहें. Paris 2024, we should, give India's best performance. But 2036, I'm also preparing a roadmap for our athletes, federations, that what should be our target for the 2036 that we are preparing, that how many medals India can win by 2036, which are the games we need to focus, what is required to achieve that target. So we are preparing that document. At the same time, we are also looking at 2036 to host the Olympics in India.
So we will bid for it.
We should bid for India. Why not? New India has new aspirations, new hopes, and I think New India can achieve it.
Let's come to wrestling. have matters been sorted? Because there is also criticism that our wrestlers are going without the India flag, they're participating without the India flag, issues with the Wrestling Federation, its construct, etc.
If you look at the wrestling performance of late, also in the last 6 months, since the ad hoc committee is appointed by the Indian Olympic Association, they have selected the teams. It went off very well, smoothly, the trials, the selection, and the performance is also outstanding, one after another, men's and the women's both. Now looking at the Asian Games, unfortunately the UWW has taken a stand to suspend the Wrestling Federation. The IOA has taken it up with them, and I'm very hopeful they're going to resolve it, because we are already in the process of electing a new body. There is one stay in one of the high courts in the country. I hope that will be resolved soon, and we'll have a new body, elected body soon with the Wrestling Federation of India.
Ahead of the special session of Parliament, or perhaps soon after it, we'd like to have a conversation with you.
देखिए, ये special session भी होगा और कुछ special भी होगा.
Oh, sure. Look forward to that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is being dominated by G7 plus grouping and their agenda, and they do not want G20.
Good evening, this is Rastak Samzaka. Jacob, the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's son and Minister in the Cabinet, Udhyanidhi Stalin, is under fire for comparing Sanatan Dharma to dengue and mosquitoes and corona. He says it needs to be eradicated, not just opposed. But what exactly is Sanatan Dharma? It simply means eternal law or eternal philosophy, if you will. It is not about the division of people basis what